Okay. Letting the beat end there. A little silly theme song. End it out. And yes, here we are. Welcome to Movie Crap Live. Hello, everyone who is here. I believe the tweet is sent. And yes, hello Purple Goop, Nattenbach64, Zodber, Ramsey the Artist, Super Dusky, Cornbread, K-Masker, Jordan Salafalo, Purple Goop. I think I saw Austin earlier, Nathaniel Foga. Hello everyone, thank you for being here for Movie Crap Live. There is Austin. Okay, I thought I saw Austin there. Just making sure. Okay, everything sounds relatively okay. Let's switch over. It's a bit hot in New York. Hello. It's 80 degrees, so hoping I don't get too hot. But I have the thing isn't in. Okay. Energy drink is off camera. But it would help me keep my energy and help me cool down throughout this night. But yes, welcome to Movie Crap Live. Sorry we're starting so late. Just sort of had all sorts of weird issues getting everything going, and now we are. But so I guess it'll go till around 12:45, maybe end a little early. Last week was the longest stream I've ever done, ever. So that's pretty cool. I'm kind of, it wasn't, but I did check, and it was the longest one to my knowledge. But then I was like, we did stream old pizza party, so maybe that. Anyway, the one on my channel, I guess, the distinction. Anyway, Bloxy Axwinkle with the first super chat of the night says Kevin James should be Superman or Dora. I actually think Kevin James would be really good in a Dora movie. Superman, you know what? I bet he'd do. He'd be a good Jimmy Olsen. But I guess Cornbread did guess it, but I got another Ghost energy drink just because they have a fridge at my grocery store, but with the cherry limeade. So Bloxy Axwinkle gets the first inaugural energy drink. I hope this is very cold. I could use it. That was pretty good. I hope everyone is having a good night. And yeah. Oh, hello Carter Pup, Zane Powers. Yeah, I'm trying to think what happened this past week. We did, free comic book day. I hope most of you guys got to do that. It was really cool. The one thing I got a lot of free comics, but I got this one comic which I haven't really gotten to read through, but I'll shout it out just because I really like the art. At least I haven't really gotten to read it, but it's a bear pirate Viking queen. There we go. This is really cool. I think most people, or I don't know if you know necessarily, but I'm a big fan of Bill Sienkiewicz's art. Since I was a kid, I was a weird kid because this is the kind of art I thought was really cool. And so far it's cool. I think someone turns into a bear, but I really like the art, and they actually did a signing at the comic book store I go to, like a couple days before Free Comic Book Day. So that's sort of actually how I knew about it, and I was lucky to get a signed one because he had signed there. I didn't think I would get one of those, so that's cool. If I get into it, I wouldn't mind having like one comic I read, because I grew up, my dad would read comics. We'd go to the comic book store like every weekend, or in high school I had half days, so I was going Wednesday and stuff, but I don't know, it's a cool store, and I would like to get, if I had like one a month, that'd be cool. And that's so cool. I don't know, I have to read it, and like getting into X-Men again is like a whole thing. And yeah, if I had like a ton of money. Hey Gary, how's it going? I was talking about the Dark City DVD thing with someone because I brought up we're talking about 90s sci-fi movies. I brought up Dark City, and yeah, I mentioned, I was like, yeah, I have this like weird ongoing joke with somebody about the Dark City DVD. Anyway, Austin said previously on Movie Crap. So actually, the previously on thing comes back to a later. It actually has to do with both our segments tonight, which is pretty insane. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, we got a lot of free comics. Took both the kids. Oscar got. Can I reach for it? This is cool. He got the sticker just for being a cool little 2-year-old, which I like this sticker a lot. And then I think one of them is missing, which sort of stinks. I hope it just got knocked behind something. But this one artist who also did that sticker, because it was also May the 4th, made his own version of the Topps Star Wars cards, which is cool. Because they had an indie art fair as well at the same time, which was really cool, actually. So we had a good time. My one thing, because I was like, each kid gets to buy a comic, but I think Oscar's got a sticker, is they don't have as many comics for like kids and or little girls anymore. And I was like, it's kind of funny. When I was a kid, they had Barbie, and they had like Barbie comics were pretty big, actually, and they had like Disney comics. That now the Disney comics are like definitely for older people. When I was a kid, they were for like kids. So it's like, I was like, even the store was kind of a little like, oh man, this sort of this, it's not their fault. They don't make the comics, but I don't know. We did get a Moon Girl thing. It's like a graphic, like more of a collection thing that's more based on the show, which I think she's going to read. So she does have stuff, but I wish there had been like a regular issue. You know what I mean? I don't know. That used to be, when I was a kid, they used to make those. And now it feels like comics are like way more for my age than anyone else, although they do a lot of indie stuff and a lot of independent publishers there and stuff. But it does feel like as far as the big publishers and stuff, they just don't make them for kids, which is sort of stinks. It kind of hurts the whole industry, to be honest with you. But I do think it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad we did it. And yeah, a lot of free comics, which I also want to read through, but I'll probably very slowly do that. Let me see what else. Before we get into it, I might take a break after the Patreon thing before we get into it, just to pee very quickly. So the throwbacks this week, we have 2, which was Drive, because of the Fall Guy, which we'll talk later about how it fucking bombed, but that's kind of a favorite of mine. It was like a big deal for me, because I really like that movie a lot. I know like really boring dudes like it now, which sort of stinks, but I still always liked it. And then War of the Planet of the Apes, because that was the last Planet of the Apes. I am planning on reviewing. I like to review all the sequels, like I said, so I think I'm doing Conquest. I'm going to watch Conquest soon, of the Planet of the Apes, and review that, as well as review the new one. So that'll be tomorrow. And then I also have an interview they did with what's it, Low Budget Visions or Low? Anyway, it'll be shared tomorrow, yes, on the community tab. I did an interview with my friend Matt. That went up on Tuesday. I think it's really cool. You should check it out. It's a good interview. We talked about the short film that was in a film festival, Phone Buggin', and just film stuff in general, and YouTube and all that stuff. So I don't get to do podcast interviews, and I thought it was did a good job. So yeah. What? What, $300 on books was a crazy move? What do you mean 300? I'm a little lost on it. No, $3 books. Yeah, that is one of the things I do think that hurts comics, is the cost of comic books. But I also do think like it does feel like, I don't know. I don't really love some of the art styles sometimes, and I do feel like there's a more variety in art styles that I don't see as much on the mainstream things. But again, I'm just looking at covers, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But if you haven't seen Drive, I know like I've heard that complaint from people about Drive, but it is a legitimately great like genre flick, and it has like a crazy cast like Ryan Gosling, Oscar Isaacs, Carey Mulligan, you know, Bryan Cranston, Albert Brooks. But it's really good. But that is the one thing that is crazy about Drive is Nicholas Winding Refn was such a big deal in the early 2010s, and dramatically fell off. Where I don't think he's a major director anymore. It's kind of crazy how much he fell off after Only God Forgets and Neon Demon. But I think part of me thinks a big part of that is if you're a director and your movie, in the reviews and the way people talk about it, go, oh, well, it's no this, and it becomes less essential and more about the filmography. It's harder for new people to get into you. And also he does like a weird TV show. I think that didn't help. But I do feel like if we're watching your second, third tier stuff, and it's not as big of a deal, it's only a big deal for people who've seen your previous stuff, then there's a chance you're going to fall off for a little bit. You know, people come back from that, but there's a lot of directors who don't, because you're not getting new people in, and I don't think Nicholas Winding Refn was getting people in. All right, so, oh, thank you, Cartwright. Let me do the kind of Patreon Discord thing. I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll do the show. All right. So, this books and libraries are awesome. I really love my local library. I think it's great. If you don't have a library card, do it, because it's free, and it actually does. Just getting one helps support your library, believe it or not, because they do look at stuff like that when they talk about funding. Even though I'm sure they're just going to cut it anyway, but it helps more than not doing it, basically. And most of them have cool apps, and you can reserve stuff and get audiobooks like on your phone and stuff, depending on, I don't know, depends on your local thing. But I don't think you need me to like simp for libraries or anything. I'm trying to I feel like something else probably happened or something. But all right, so this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through giving a super chat and having me drink this amazing Ghost energy drink here, or through my Patreon, where I have all sorts of cool stuff like postcards. You get the commentary videos, as well as there's going to be a DVD giveaway throughout the summer of DVDs I'm sort of mailing off and stuff. So if you are a patron, details of that will be coming out in a few days. So that'll actually be really cool. And it helps, help me do flyers, do film festivals, all sorts of stuff like that. Helps me pay some bills, everything like that. So if you want me to continue to make cool shows and cool stuff, it is a great way to do so, and you get more interaction and things like that, as well as thank you, Taco Master, as well as my Discord. It has a great community. If you like everyone who is in the chat right now and you want to hang out with them, it is a wonderful place to go. The link is in the description as well. If, like, for example, the day before or the day of Movie Crap, I usually ask, what do you want me to talk about? And it's a very easy way to interact and things like that. It's a wonderful kind of community. It's run very well by Austin and Zane Powers. They have movie watches. I'm not sure which movie they're doing this week, but maybe I think they know. There's the Ask Jim channel where you can ask me questions. There's the licensed playing card channel, which when I have new playing cards, someone posted before I did, but the Cartoon Network playing cards, which look really cool. I think it was the Cartoon Network ones. Anyway, if you want to see the Cartoon Network promo playing cards, they looked really cool. I think so. So, as well as playing with cards or something like that. And I guess these are sort of playing cards. Maybe I should have posted these. If I find the Han Solo one, I will post both. How about that? Even though I guess it's trading cards, not playing cards. But whatever. Anyway, there's cool things like, art promo. There's general. There's all sorts of stuff. It's a really, really cool community, as well as I have, for right now, a TikTok Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook fan page, Instagram. All I think did I say Instagram twice? Not sure, but it's all in the links in the description down below. Did I pledge on your Patreon? I did you? I'm lost. I mean that's up to you, I guess. Anyway, what? Oh, Guar, Fairless, and Wonder. I didn't know Guar had a movie. That's interesting. I'll have to look that up. Anyway, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll start talking about the Shrek 5 sort of thing. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Old man. No, it's just I didn't get to. I usually go right before the show, so it's less old man. It's more. You got to do it right before. And anyway, someone's in there. All right. So, Shrek 5. What's going on with this? Because this seems to be the Illumination question, and they don't really have a response or a release date. And that seems to be a thing with a lot of these studios, because we'll talk about Disney a little later with these. It's earning call season, kids. Don't worry. I know you're excited. Calm down, everyone. Calm down. But it actually is. So you'll hear all these like Paramount. I think Paramount's was like real quick. Actually, Paramount's was 8 minutes, and most of them are like an hour to a half an hour. Paramount's was like, we should do streaming better and like make more stuff. I don't know. Leave me alone. Bye. And it was like I listened to the Ankler, and I do read more industry stuff, and it was like pretty funny how they're like, they said 3 things, and then we weren't. They just left. It was weird. But anyway, Chris Meledandri, a guy who runs Illumination and DreamWorks, said if he wants to do a spin-off for Donkey, which they've been saying forever, so cool, good for you, as well as he wants to do when he does a fifth Shrek, he wants to get the original voice cast back. I think that is smart. I don't think it could work without the original voice cast. I would like to know what the pitch is. And I think the thing is with Chris Meledandri and DreamWorks and Illumination is he's very good at parsing out stuff. And I think when you look at the filmography and how he's kind of playing with 2 different studios, I think the thing with him and what we've learned, since he's been against AI, he's been doing more interviews, and we're all kind of like, you seem better than we expected and smarter, is that he does seem to do like at least bet on originals a lot more. Like Migration got a ton of promotion. And it eventually worked out for it. I still haven't seen it, but it eventually worked out for it financially because it stayed in theaters for so long because so many people knew about it, from everything from the Thanksgiving parade to this to that. Um, and I think, you can't say that about necessarily even Disney. And I think Migration I hear more about than Wish, which is kind of crazy. So I think he's probably the kind of guy who's like, if I'm going to do Shrek 5, I want to do it right. And I get that impression, but I haven't heard anything. Get AI Chris Farley for Shrek's voice. I love it. I love it. That would be funny. Choose to use Zane Powers. I still think, like, whatever I said with my Shrek 5 thing, that should be like a live action, coming on the live action thing. But we'll see what happens. But it seems like they have a lot of ideas with the IP. But I do wonder. I think Shrek 1 and 2 do play in for most families, but I don't see, like, 3 is horrible and 4 is like, eh. So I think to make it more of a franchise, again, that will be hard, and I think you gotta mess with things like that. So, I guess this is a quick thing. We have the first look at Superman, and it's just him, of James Gunn's Superman. David Corn Sweat, somebody sweat. Anyway, he is just him putting on his boot, and behind him you see, a laser thing attacking a big glow of lasers. Supposedly this is a in-camera shot, and didn't use CG. I guess, well, okay. So what most people have identified, because this was released by James Gunn, that somebody said they didn't use CG. And everyone's like, well, yeah, you use like the volume thing where it's like a screen behind him, and you did use CG, but you didn't use post CG because it was shot on CG. Does that make sense? So it's like still, yeah. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Still got that Shrek hipster in you. First off, Nathaniel Fogo, you don't know donkey about Shrek. So you don't know donkey. I don't think, actually, to go back to this, I don't think Chris Meledandri knows donkey about Shrek because he can't get a donkey movie. Until he does, he doesn't know donkey. Who knows donkey anyway? Do we really know any of us? Think about it. Anyway, cheers to you, Nathaniel Fogo. So it is supposedly an in-camera shot. It's just not post-CG, more like pre-CG or during shoot CG. Anyway, whatever, that's stupid. Apparently everyone got upset because he's putting on his boots, and only ladies and gay people wear shoes, apparently. So that's wrong, I guess. To be real, since I know, I'm sure the Quartering and Geeks and Gamers made very nice thumbnails about these things. But I think what James Gunn is doing, and I think is actually smart, is one thing about a good protagonist in an action movie, and why specifically Harrison Ford is so was so successful during his heyday, and even why Guardians of the Galaxy is I heard this, I don't remember who I heard it from, but it's better if you have a superhero or a hero, sorry, it doesn't have to be a superhero, a hero or a protagonist in an action movie who will get punched in the face, because it is much more relatable sorry, if you see someone screw up than if you see someone be perfect. I actually think the kind of thesis, almost statement of this, is if you look at what, I'm not the biggest Jack Ryan fan, but if you look at what Harrison Ford did with Jack Ryan versus like John Krasinski or Chris Pine or anybody else, Harrison Ford plays Jack Ryan like a dork. Like, he's a dorky dad. He solves these things. He looks silly. Like, he basically saw through the whole Tom Clancy thing. He goes, this guy, this guy's like a dorky dad. These are dorky dad books. And he like leads into it. And that's the best one. And every other one is like, I got my muscles and like I'm all strong and stuff. And like those have none of the staying power at all. And you same look at Chris Pratt in the first Guardians, and immediately in the first scene he's dancing around. He has like the ball thing and he drops it and picks it up again. Like he's a goof. I think maybe that might not be the first scene, but I think that's actually later. But my point being is like he's a goof and you relate to him because people are not these like stoic, almost perfect thing. It's far more relatable. Like, oh, he can mess up. I've heard the same thing about Chris Pine. I've heard the same thing about Harrison Ford in both Indiana Jones and Star Wars. So when I saw that, I was like, I get what he's doing. He's making us believe because he's finding a way to, Superman's not going to get punched in the face a lot. So he made him relatable in other ways. Like, I'm just putting on my shoes, going to work. Everybody's got to put on their shoes. Apparently that is too woke for people. My thing about the woke thing, and the people that say it. Here's what I imagine, and I've always imagined, and I don't know if I'll use this later for something, but I just want to get this out somewhere. So like when I hear about people go, oh, he's woke, I imagine woke is like, let's take the movie. I know the Matrix has been co-opted by this, but to me the woke people are the like Neo and Trinity. They're like woke, and the non-woke people are that guy eating steak and he's gonna sell them all out and he knows he is, and he's like gonna be like, I know this isn't real steak, and it's like all synopsis and whatever. And like to me all the non-woke people are that guy in the Matrix, and in my mind I'd much rather think I could be Neo than want to be that guy. So I never really got the whole I don't know, if you use the Matrix, I'm always like, wouldn't the woke guy be Neo and Lawrence Fishburne and those guys? And that would be the guy who is subservient to the massive corporations and doing by the wills of the rich would be the evil guy eating the steak. But anyway, this is my take. But at least the guy eating steak doesn't pander gender politics. I mean, he does if you think about it, because only the gays eat steak. Maybe, I don't know. That's probably going to be a thing too. Who cares? It plays so much like 12-year-old little boys who are afraid of cooties. All right, moving on. Sorry, that was like a whole thing. I think it looks fine. I think overall, at first I was like, and then I was like, I kind of see what he's doing. I'm excited. Although if I was him, by the way, hello Taco Master. By the way, if I was him, I would not want to have to make a Superman thing while My Adventures of Superman is airing. I would feel incredibly intimidated because that show is fucking great. Let's talk about The Fall Guy, because this was quite the disappointment in terms of box office. I did not see it. I was not entirely... I don't know. It just wasn't... I think if... I know The Matrix is a lot of other things. I was just saying for the other thing. I understand that. I'm just saying that's what I think of, at least. All right, so I want to talk about the box office for a couple things. But The Fall Guy, which was supposed to be the thing that brought back all movies for all time, and all movies were going to be so successful, I guess after this is going to bring in the summer, and it's actually the first non-sequel, non-comic book movie to lead the summer. Some people were saying it was because... or it was not since Kingdom of Heaven. Heard some people say the Lizzie McGuire movie. I actually heard on a podcast that they adjusted the Lizzie McGuire movie opening for inflation, and the Lizzie McGuire movie actually made more money than The Fall Guy, which is I've never... That was a pretty big diss there. But anyway, The Fall Guy was supposed to at least make 40, which was still disappointing considering Universal promoted it as much as it did. It was estimated to be $28 million, which is huge, still a huge disappointment, and then it actually made less than that in actuals with $27 million. I think, I applaud Universal in a sense because they actually tried to push a sort of original movie. Well, I'll actually get into that part, but. I think they overhyped something that probably when you look at that movie, you're like, this is gonna start off the summer. To me, it's like probably Deadpool Wolverine, but everybody wants that later July slot so you can like coast for a month, until even like I guess it'd be like October or something. Um, Fall Guy has crying over American Ultra vibes. Oh wow, wow, wow. Max Landis diss. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. That was a good one. But like, if this had come out July 4th or something as like the third movie of the release week or something, sure. I do think maybe we should have had a bigger movie start off this summer, and instead Universal went with this, and it's like you have a huge director, you have two stars, the bit, the Barbenheimer thing. But ultimately, it doesn't. I don't know if it like sells itself out too much, and most people I talk to who were like, my wife didn't want to see it, and most people I talk to who are not movie people are like, oh, that, I don't know. Like, it just didn't really seem to grab people. What is interesting, so I watched a Joe Blow video because it's based on a show, also called The Fall Guy. And they basically like changed so much of it that I'm like, is this even a remake of the show? It's like another thing. And in the show, Ryan Gosling's character is played by, is it Lee Majors or Steve Austin, whatever his name is, from the $6 Million Man. He was the lead. And then Emily Blunt's character was actually his protege, who was a woman who they did not have a romantic relationship. And then he had another guy, and there would be stuntmen, and they'd have all these movie star cameos in the show. And then they would be bail bondsmen, would be their other job, their side hustle, I guess. And they'd have to catch these guys and then be back on set, and like James Coburn and all these other people. The Joe Blow video is actually pretty good, but in my mind, it's kind of funny because when I heard the concept of that show, I was like, I actually want to watch that show, but not want to watch this movie. And it's also kind of funny that every time you hear like those complaints about modern films, it's always like, they're always pushing a romance. Like, I would just like to see like a man and woman be friends or something. And that's literally what this show is. So it's like, I don't think, the complaint is everything that's remade has to be like, all their lore has to be treated like so carefully and stuff. But this is like the one time that like I'm like, no, I actually think you should have done that though. I think you fucked up, because like that sounds like a better movie to me. And his protege, very beautiful woman. I was like, I kind of want to watch the show. And I talked to someone who grew up with the show, and they were like, I was explaining the differences, and they're like, yeah, that doesn't sound good. So it's fucking really interesting, But I don't think things should not change the original stuff, but I do sometimes feel like they change it so much. They're like, I feel like you should have just like made a different thing, but because of the way IP is now and stuff, you have to use it. But I don't think the Fall Guy was that recognizable to most people. Like it was even on. I may have watched it when I was a kid and just watched copious amounts of television, but I don't remember it. But it's so weird that I don't know. Anyway, this was a big disaster, I think, for Hollywood. I think they really wanted to, they're really hyping this up. The whole industry was, but I have not seen it. I don't know. If my wife would have seen it, whatever, she didn't want to. So I was like, we'll see. The Phantom Menace did make $8 million in a re-release, which is pretty good. I've noticed the Star Wars re-releases do good, but I think the Star Wars re-releases do well because Star Wars is fucking amazing to see in the theater. Like, you always want to see a Star Wars movie in the theater. So if you didn't get a chance to, do it if you've always wanted to. I remember seeing the special edition re-releases for that reason. So those are always films, much like what we're seeing with the Spider-Man movies, although I've noticed, like, you can tell the reception of them gets worse and worse because, like, 1 and 2, all these tweets, and 3, it was like, I mean, it has its moments, but it's not good. Like, nobody, and then I only saw, like, a couple that, like, oh, Amazing Spider-Man, yeah, it was kind of special. Like, it just, even its fans are not that boisterous about the Andrew Garfield ones. Jesus. And then also, the other one I wanted to mention is Tarot, which most people probably forgot came out, but Tarot only made $6 million, which at first you're like, oh, Tarot, what a fucking disaster. I didn't hear about that. But you didn't hear about that for a reason, because they exclusively did digital marketing. They didn't do a big ad spend on marketing the way the Fall Guy did. So a lot of box office analysts are projecting that Tarot might financially have worked out for the studio Screen Gems, whereas if it had done like the billboards and all the stuff Fall Guy does, because that movie costs like 120, and then all the ads and stuff, and it's honestly a fucking disaster. But Tarot, they spent ads smartly, like towards their target demo, which is younger people who are online more. Hello, any younger people watching, I guess. And then, so that kind of worked out for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see more horror movies that they're like, well, do we want to spend all this money and we're not sure if it's going to build or something? Do we spend it digitally? I think this might be more of a trend going forward. So that's kind of why I wanted to bring this up, actually, because I'm actually serious here. I can see this happening where they'll do direct to consumer digital marketing and just like do that, and then they actually make their money back on some of these horror movies that are like low budget anyway. So the potential of Tarot's release is actually fairly fascinating. I just wanted to bring that up. Nattenbach64, thank you for the super chat. Who would have guessed the Fall Guy would be put next to Ridley Scott and Guy Ritchie May opening weekend wise? Wait, what? I'm confused. Ridley Scott. Oh, because I mentioned Kingdom of Heaven. I'm confused about I guess Ridley Scott. I'm a little lost, but sorry. Cheers to you anyway. Thank you for the support. Cheers. Horror has not, though, really had a breakout this year, because I think someone posted on Twitter, it was sort of going around that the highest grossing horror movie weekend of 2024 was The Night Swim at 11 million, which is not great. So anyway, Wrath of Man. Okay, good point. Sorry about that. And let's go down. Oh, and I kind of want to see I Saw the TV Glow, but I don't know if I'll get to. We'll see. All right, we're going down. What is the lowest grossing movie of the weekend? It is On the Adamant. What's Golden Years? Well, Golden Years was number 2. A retired couple is going to enjoy their life as pensioners on a cruise trip. I don't even care. On the Adamant. They shot the piano player. Man. Anyway. Follows patients and caregivers at a psychiatric center with a unique floating structure located in the middle of the Seine River in central Paris. So the bottom of the box office is all about cruise ships, you guys. So if you're on a cruise ship, bottom of the fucking box office. Man, if only Speed 2 Cruise Control came out now, it would be a disaster. All right. So I'm sure none of you is stop motion. I should have mentioned stop. Guys, you should really check out the trailer of stop motion. My one thing about stop motion, for real though, is I definitely want to ask, like, did anyone who is an actual stop motion animator talk about stop motion? Because that's the one review I would be interested in. Like, in all honesty, they're like, no, it is like this. I would see weird freaky girls who convince me to make weird stop motions all the time. No, I don't know. I'd be interested in that. If I see a stop motion animator, that will be my first question. Like, so did you see stop motion? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? That's probably what we'll see. So, I know this is a movie thing. I'll just mention the Kendrick Drake thing. I feel a little... I mean, I like hip-hop, you probably know, and I like making music influenced by that. But, man, this past weekend was a little crazy because it just kept putting out diss tracks. And I was a little, like, surprised. But it was also surprising how often... Drake fell the fuck off so quickly. It was like pretty remarkable. Like, I haven't seen a diss go that like wrong for someone. Like, I don't know. There's certain ones in hip hop history, like Roxanne Shante and the KRS-One thing with South Bronx and all that stuff. But but this was wow. I mean, I think it's like, I think there was that TikTok where it was like going over all the Drake beefs, and at the end he was like, no, Kendrick Lamar just being like, no, I really hate you, and it was and everyone's like, please do not engage with him, Drake. It's a bad idea. And the first Euphoria, which is a great song, I was just like, he like does not like this guy to a level that wow. Oh, the A minor line. Oh my god, that's. Although I did think it was funny, Kendrick Lamar said Haley Joel Osment wrong and said Haley Joel Osteen. Apparently Haley Joel Osment said he's cool with it. Joel Osteen, I didn't look it up, but I can't imagine he wants to get involved in this. But I do like that. Like, I don't think Drake could really come back from this. I do think it is similar to the 50 Cent Ja Rule beat, like I mentioned on Twitter and stuff. But I 100% think you cannot go around that. Like that, there's just like, I think with the Ja Rule thing is like he became such a punching bag, such a joke, and I think Drake has become a joke. And I know I've heard people say, well, Kanye or some of that can come back, and I'm like, that's not the same thing. It's just like it's one thing to be like, there's this debate and you talk about their influence, but it's like you don't want people to hear your name and start laughing. So, but yes, AI Tupac is pretty pathetic. All the Drake responses are pretty pathetic. Although I actually go back farther with Drake because I remember there was this hype like, oh man, Drake's mixtape, his first one, or the one that really blew up. The cover was like a riff on an Economist cover, and I remember graphic designers being like, "Oh, this is actually interesting that he did a riff on a Economist cover." Like he really did. I'm not joking around. And it was kind of like this cool, interesting thing, and I thought he was kind of different at the time. But it's sort of like the problem I've had with Drake in the last couple of years is I will listen to one or two songs after a certain point. I'm like, I don't even like, I forget that I even listened to it. Like it's so underwhelming. Like I was like, there was a couple recently like I didn't even finish. So I do think like, but Kendrick Lamar's like a real MC's MC, and so like of the three, the Euphoria and the one that has the cover that's Drake's house is great. But the one about his like was it the Grams, that one, that I can't even listen to that. That's just like, I've never heard someone scorch earth someone's entire family in such a regard. It's just like, whoa, that is I don't know. I have a hard time listening to I like listening to The Takeover, but like Ether is such a, like how do you really come back from that? And I mean Jay-Z did, and everyone said please take this off. Anyway, I don't know, I think Drake is just, wow, he really, if I was him I would disappear for a while. But I don't know, I think it's also interesting, like he came up with the Lil Wayne stuff, and him and Nicki Minaj, I think when they came up they were like very defiant and like very well trained, and it seems like much like current Lil Wayne, like they basically take for granted they think they are very good, and I don't think any of them are anymore, and it's sort of disappointing. I would honestly just like a Lil Wayne comeback, because that era in the late 2000s where he could just like he was just putting out freestyles left and right, like that was an amazing time. Like I'm still sad that is over. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to acknowledge that. I'm sorry the silly thing in my tweet with like actual beef emoji. That was actually a mistake, but I thought it was funny, so I left it in. But I don't know. I'm okay with Drake, but I think I probably am more okay with him than most people. But I never thought of him as a great MC. I just thought of him as a popular MC, and I get why people don't like him as well. All right, so moving on, there is a new... Whoa, sorry about that. There's a new Dora movie. Now, I forget if I talked about this before, but their actual plan is to have a new... is not like the previous Dora movie, which I find kind of disappointing, because whenever I reviewed the Dora movie, my I will talk about Steve Albini later. Don't worry. The last Dora movie. My daughter hadn't really watched Dora, and I didn't grow up with Dora because I was like too old. And so I think I liked it, but now I like it a lot more because my son watches Dora and stuff like that. And it is like fun to watch with them. I am a little confused, like why. I think I've heard more people watch it and rewatch it over time, so I sort of get why they would want to make another Dora movie, because I do hear it brought up like with families and stuff. Because Dora is just like, there's a Pluto channel that's just Dora 24 hours a day. I put that on. We watch Dora on Paramount Plus. Kids can talk to it. But my one thing with this is like the first Dora movie, which by the same guy who directed the Muppets and the Muppets Go European, Muppets Most Wanted. It should have been called Muppets Go European. They really fucked that up. But I think that's like an ironic take on it, and it was fun, and it was like a fun movie, and the lead was really great. But this one, this is directed by the guy who did the Naughty Nine and episodes of Ultraviolet and Black Scorpion. I will say I actually saw Naughty Nine because my daughter wanted to see it. It's about kids who were put on the naughty list and try to break into the North Pole to get off the naughty list and stuff. But I think that'll make for a good kids movie. But my kind of thing, I mean, it's supposedly the script follows Dora and her cousin Diego. Always got to have Diego in these movies. And their friend trek through perilous dangers of an Amazonian jungle in the search of an ancient treasure of Sal Dorando in order to keep this powerful treasure out of enemies' hands. And it just says swiper, no swiping. So swiper in it? Like that. I noticed in this article, people just put swiper, no swiping at the end of paragraphs. Look, I'm not the greatest grammatically at all, but I'm pretty sure you just don't randomly say swiper, no swiping. Like there has to be something swiper would be swiping. I don't mean to correct anyone, guys, but like swiper has to have about to swipe something, and there's nothing in that paragraph that suggests swiper should not swipe. Like if a swiping is not commenced, you cannot then ask him to not swipe. That just feels like you're picking on swiper. I just like, what the fuck? Like, leave swiper alone, guys. Like, come on. It's ridiculous. But like, look, I'll defend swiper when he's not swiping, and he clearly was not in that case. But yes, they have a new person. I went Sicario 3, not this Dora movie. What the fuck, Embla D? What? What does that have to do with? What? I'm really lost on that one. Anyway, sorry, that made me laugh. So my thing with this, if you're going to do a Dora movie, is you did the ironic one. Now I just want one where the whole movie, this actress, what's her name? Sorry, maybe I know her. I didn't look her up. Samantha Lorraine, I guess. Yeah, I want her to literally go like, can you see, like, where is my backpack and stuff like that. I want her to talk to the audience, and I want people to respond. Like, let's go all in. Let's not do this ironic thing. Look, College Humor did it first, I think, or Funny or Die, with the girl with Alexa. From the girl from the Modern Family was Dora. You had that one, you had the James Babbitt one. We did the irony thing. We get it. It's haha. It's like she's, it's like a kid show, so whatever. Like, let's just go. I want it to be 100% just a Dora the Explorer episode in live action. That's all I want. I want to, I will talk to the screen. I do it when Dora's on, whether my kids think it's cool or not. So I hope they do that. But it is interesting we're doing this again. It is Oogie Loves. I don't care. It is Oogie Loves. Oogie Loves all over again. Yeah, so we're getting another Dora movie. So we're also hearing about an Office reboot spinoff thing. So I don't really get why we're doing an Office spinoff in general, but especially when you read it's basically about a Midwest paper, and it's the same documentary crew. from the original Office. It's the documentary crew that's immortalized, I guess, this is what it says, in Dunder Mifflin's Scranton branch is in search of a new subject when they discover a dying historic Midwestern newspaper and the publisher trying to revive it with volunteer reporters. I don't really, I don't know. I don't really get, like, it's almost everyone has suggested, and I did too, that this was basically a different show. And Greg Daniels was like, they were like, well, we need an Office reboot. And he's like, what if I just call this an Office reboot or spinoff? And they're like, excellent. I do think, I hope they fired the guy who hit on Pam. I was thinking, like, is he involved? Like, he was the voice of Mickey Mouse too, that actor. He's an interesting guy. But I do wonder if they will, how they'll market this. But I was thinking, like, if you heard Greg Daniels was making this show, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. You know, you probably, when this premieres, will see, like, the failed Office spinoff or how the Office spinoff succeeds, or like that's a very clickable thing you can get press for. Whereas you said Greg Daniels has a new show about a newspaper, it's fucking crickets. So I think it's like kind of shows you where we are at with IP, because like I do think any streaming service would take any Greg Daniels show, but I think like he knows he has some sort of power with an Office spinoff. And NBC, I'm sure, is hoping 2 people accidentally sign up for Peacock. So I think it is what it is, I guess. So we keep hearing about this Ren and Stimpy reboot, and the feeling is, which is highly rumored, let me just say, there's no concrete evidence of this, and Billy West, who's doing both characters, has denied it, or said, like, they keep having me show up for work, so until they don't, I haven't heard that. But not sure if Wessinator, is that a joke? Well, anyway, I hope everyone got ice cream. His South Park ton of Drake versus Kendrick Rappy. Well, that wouldn't be fair, because the South Park guys are friends with Kendrick. They work together. They at least, I don't know if that movie will happen, but their company is the one who made his Part Number 5 video with the AI thing. But anyway, so we keep hearing about this Ren and Stimpy reboot the Paramount Plus is doing, and not much has happened with it. And then there's this thing that they're going to be cutting shows that do not emphasize sort of the global brand or global recognizability and can be shown in different places. And like I previously talked about, like the Rugrats reboot was sort of taken off the service unceremoniously. Hey, That Girl Lele was, other shows like that. I think thing is like, this is not official at all, and the whole idea that people think it is weird. But what I think is like, I think it could still be happening, because how we feel about, Me Too and stuff, other countries unfortunately don't. And I still see a lot of people wearing Ren and Stimpy shirts, and I wouldn't be surprised if this still happens. Now, until we get an official, like, Ren and Stimpy's over, but I just don't, it's so unconfirmable, and I think that's like highly suggesting like the fan base is like, oh no, this has no crossover appeal, whatever, this is fucking dead. Like, it seems like a lot of insinuation. To me, it's like, I do actually think if you had the goods with it, you could interpret it as one of those. So I think it could still happen, to be honest with you. I didn't get to see the leaked episode, unfortunately. All right, got something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Moving on to the Exorcist sequels. Believe it or not, they're still going to make them. And even though David Gordon Green left and that whole thing was a disaster, we don't need to get into that again. But they've brought on Mike Flattery. Mike, hold on. His name, Google documents changed his name to Mike Flamboyant in my on my Google Doc. Sorry, so I was a little lost there. Mike Flanagan. It's not even me being silly. It really just my spelling is very bad, so it'll sometimes make. Some people's names will be like I understand it, but some of the time I'm like, wait, I gotta look this up again. Okay, so Mike Flanagan, who is kind of a bigger horror guy, he did Doctor Sleep. He has a ton of stuff. He is being in talks to do, sorry, the Exorcist, the other two Exorcist sequels. The idea, and he is just in talks, it sounds like nothing has really been developed, is that these two would have nothing to do with the original cast. Seems like they want nothing to do with them after what I told you previously about that. So I think what we could see happen is him taking on those two. And a couple people have brought up that, man, I like everyone coming up with all the different mics it could be. With Mike Flanagan, I do think it'll, since the last one, Exorcist Believer, was actually successful based on its budget, just not that $400 million deal, which is sort of this weird movie thing because a lot of people misunderstand that those $400 million are not just for the movies. Theme park rights was in there. That was for the budgets of the films plus cast raises, because the way that deal was set up, it was set up with the cast of the first Exorcist Believer. So that deal might not even be $400 million based on what we know of that deal at this point. So when people say, oh, they spent $400 million, well, they set up a $400 million package, but like some of that was theme park rights, some of that was this, some of that was that, some of it was like a Peacock show we've heard rumored. So it's just not like, I don't know. It might be the deal, if they cut that cast, might actually become a lower deal at that point. So we'll see with that. But the first one did make money based on its budget. It just was received very poorly. But it is interesting. They are trying to figure their way out of it. And I think Mike Flanagan is a good choice. But a lot of people have said, like, The Exorcist needs Mike Flanagan, but Mike Flanagan doesn't need The Exorcist. I sort of agree and disagree, because I think in modern horror, it kind of helps you to be like, oh, and I did a reboot of something and it worked out. Because you look at like the Radio Silence guys, definitely got their, they were still a name, and I'm not trying to act like they were nobodies from Nowheresville, but they definitely got their profile brought up from the Scream franchise, as well as David Gordon Green. I've seen that with other horror directors. So I think like it could sort of work out for him, but he really needs a good concept, and I think might be Catholic even. So, but I would say, yeah, if you hear the $400 million thing, I know I've said it a million times, but like, please just like, it's like, no, they didn't actually spend $400 million. They had a deal, and they are sort of contractually obligated to make 2 more movies, but they did not spend $400 million. That is not really what happened. They just have this deal, and they did spend some money. They did not. They definitely spent money, but it's not $400 million. Anyway, Paul. I'm moving on. Paul Walter Hauser has been brought in to be a possible role in Fantastic Four, and everyone's like, "What is he going to be?" Because I think some people thought he would be the Thing, but obviously the actual Fantastic Four has been cast. Some people, is he Robbie the Robot? Here is the theory, and I agree with it, that he is playing Mole Man. There is a constant rumor that the movie opens with them fighting Mole Man. I think he would be a good Mole Man. It's insane that the Mole Man is coming to screen post The Underminer, which is, you know what, a very funny, much funnier name than Mole Man. The Underminer. It's like, I'm the Underminer. I like that. I like the Underminer. Well, he's not playing the movie critic because the movie critic isn't happening. But yeah, so the rumor is that Paul Walter Hauser is playing the Mole Man, which I think could be a cool role and come back a few times and stuff like that. Maybe he's playing something else. But we'll see. It might just be like, you know, hey, do you want to just have this small MC role and we can have you come back for some TV shows and you get like a nice little check there. I think that's possible. It does kind of insert you into this major franchise and stuff like that. Let's see. The other thing, and I think this was sad to hear, was John John Waters got into a car accident this past weekend, or no, a couple days ago. He is okay. Obviously, that was scary. It was scary for me. I wasn't in it, but I'm apparently he's doing okay. We don't really need to add more on to that, but apparently he's doing okay. I hope he's fine, and I hope his phone gets financing his next Liarmouth. But it's kind of sad to hear that. So I wanted to talk about this one thing because it was going viral today, and I did sort of hook on to it a bit. Is that there's this TikTok influencer person. They were on the red carpet for the new Planet of the Apes, and they just kind of like kept mumbling their answer, and the guy couldn't hear them. And then he got the actor who plays one of the apes to make ape noises, and that was sort of it. And I thought it was a funny bit. It was fine, but I saw so many replies, so many tweets of people getting so mad to go, "Oh, if I had this opportunity, what I would do with it, the questions I would ask, and all this stuff." And like, I think there are certain people who take that stuff very seriously because you have someone like Simon Thompson, particularly. I know he takes it very seriously, but he's also he's good at playing with them and stuff. But like, I've watched entertainment coverage since the 90s, and it's a little more fun when people have fun on the red carpet because nobody gives like an insanely, unless it's the letterbox thing, no one's answers are particularly great anyway. And it's like, he's an actor who plays an ape in Planet of the Apes, and you got him to make ape noises. I feel like you did your job. But anyway, my whole thing with movie content is, I did tweet it, so if you go on my Twitter, it's there. My whole thing with movie content is I think all of it is sort of valid, but I think it's like, there is space for Maria Menounos, there's space for a big New York Times critic in the same way. It's just they do different things, and people say, "Oh, well, that doesn't have the intelligence of a well-written review." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but it's not fucking supposed to, dude. Like, it's doing what it does, and you do what you do, and it all like helps people. You're intellectually engaging in the movie, but they're just going like, oh, it's fun that ape guy made an ape noise. That reminds me to see the ape movie. Like, that's all it's got to do. I don't understand why it's always this thing. Hello, Sinram. How's it going? But anyway, I just find it to be kind of like, I don't love this whole like TikTok people are evil thing, because I'm like, I don't really care. It's like, whatever. Okay, so a few Star Wars things, because it was the May the 4th. Mark Hamill was at the White House. I thought that was pretty lame, to be honest with you. I thought it was kind of pathetic. I don't really understand. I don't know. I like Mark Hamill, but I was just like, why is he at the White House? Like, I don't really get it, but whatever. But we had some Star Wars things, like we learned Skeleton Crew is going to bring back legendary stop motion and animator Phil Tippett to do stop motion on there, and they're going to have actual matte paintings, so it's going to be like the original Star Wars, as well as the Acolyte trailer, which was fine. I watched it at the time. It's not really making a huge impression on me at this point. So it was a fun. My only thing with May 4th is like, could Free Comic Book Day be a different weekend? Like, May 4th and Free Comic Book Day on the same day felt like a bit much. It felt like it was like they were kind of competing in the same circles. I feel like they shouldn't share the same day in my mind, but whatever. Anyway. But I think the biggest news was Skeleton Crew is going to have Phil Tippett and matte paintings. To me, it's like, that's real Star Wars to me. That sounds like the coolest thing I've heard so far. Like, I'm very much in on that. So as long as we get a cool Star Wars thing with practical stuff like that, I'm excited. I feel like there'll probably be CG, but just that Phil Tippett's involved is much better than anything else. All right, so there was the trailer, or really just a scene, sort of Megalopolis, the Francis Ford Coppola's big epic thing that he sold his winery for and all this shit. We finally got a scene from the French distributor. It's basically just Adam Driver coming out of a building, looking like he's going to jump off. He says time stop. Realize he can start and stop time. I everyone was like, whoa, this is amazing, all this stuff. I'm like, I don't really feel the same way about it. I'm kind of like, it looked neat or whatever, but it's just like sort of like, I wanted to be like wowed by all this sci-fi stuff, and it's just like, guys, I can watch Adam Driver try to kill himself any day of the week. Like, well, show me something interesting at least. That's my only thing with it. It looked kind of neat, but I wanted to like, and him being able to control time, and maybe like he goes in the future, and so maybe it's a time travel thing. But I just don't, and it did look like Men in Black 3, and so I didn't love that whole thing. I do want to see it really bad, but I just didn't. I thought like I wanted a trailer with like a bunch of different shots, not just like here's a scene, whatever. Like that didn't. I don't know. Just wasn't. From everything we've heard about this, I expected more. So there's going to be a new Riddick movie. I know, calm down. If you don't know the deal with Riddick, it was a character in Pitch Black. Vin Diesel really liked it, and he stood by the director as well, and he brought back Riddick for Chronicles of Riddick. And then that was a big bomb. And then he was in Tokyo Drift as a cameo. And to get in Tokyo Drift, he didn't accept money. He accepted the rights to Riddick to be in the end of Tokyo Drift. This isn't a joke, because there was a time where Vin Diesel didn't want to come back for a Fast and Furious movie, which was insane. But so he came back. He's like, just give me the rights to Riddick. And they're like, I guess, sure. If that's you consider that worth something? Okay. So they did it. They made the deal for Tokyo Drift. And then he made the other Riddick movie, which is, I think, is the only Riddick I've reviewed. And he made a ton of money because he owns the rights and he can go to studios. And now he's making another Riddick movie called Riddick Froya, I think, which is going to begin filming in August. I'm sure he's probably like a Fast and Furious ending, so I should come back with Riddick movies. It's just, the Riddick stuff is weird because I don't know anyone who's like, oh man, you know what, I love Riddick. Like, I don't think anybody. Do people like Riddick? I don't think so. All right, so Michelle Yeoh has been cast in it's called Blade Runner 2099. So I think Miguel Herrera will be showing up. Ha ha ho ho. She will be starring in it, but it's just going to be on Amazon Prime. I hope Blade Runner's problematic Asian influences will not be on display for her. However, that's cool. I hope it turns out to be something. I hope it's as cool as those Adult Swim animated things. We'll see. Austin says, Richard B. Riddick in Triple X4 Enter Xander. I'm assuming you mean Enter Xander Cage. You know what the thing is, and cheers to you, Austin, is that did well. Cheers to you. Did well internationally. And I don't think people realize Mr. Diesel is a bigger star internationally than here. And which is why he keeps getting to make movies. So I can see, I mean, look, I think Vin Diesel, he has his, he has his movies. He has his Fast and Furiouses. He has his Pitch Blacks. But does he have a movie? Where for 70 days, hold on. Oh, hold on. I feel like you know what I'm going to do. Just give me a moment. No, wait. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. Does he have a movie where, I gotta go back even further. Does he? He has a lot of things. He has a lot of different movies, where he has things that happen. Where the fuck is that thing? He has car movies. He has all that. But does he have a movie where there's a 15-minute action sequence that took 200 stunt people 78 days to shoot that is very important for understanding his character? I think not. I think not. Does Riddick have that? No. Can he do J-turns? I've yet to see that in one of his fucking movies. I'm just saying. If he had a 15-minute action sequence that took 200 people, stunt people 78 days to shoot, and it's very important to understanding his character, maybe we care more about Riddick. But instead, we just have this guy who owns the right to things. So, yeah. So what's going on with... Sorry, I didn't have the link. I was like, I'm not going to do the bit. And I was like, I'm doing the bit. You'd think I'd have it memorized, but no. No, I'm not that good. It's funny Furiosa is in Fast and Furious. But I wouldn't mind... You know what? Everyone's like, George... who should direct this should be George Miller. But a George Miller Fast and Furious... Gotta admit, that would be cool. All right. Paramount. So what's going on with Paramount? Gary, I would like to see the TV Glow. I know I'm going to see Apes and Furiosa. So I guess maybe between those, I'm not seeing If. Although should I review the Malcolm McDowell school shooter movie? If that's the question. So what's going on with Paramount is interesting because they've had deals from Skydance presented to them and one from Sony, which would take the company and be private. Supposedly, they are not doing that. They're just sort of not considering either of those offers. Summer Redstone, I believe it is, or one of the Redstones who owns the company, is not interested in selling at this time. Some people are suggesting that Warner's will, and then Zassoff will be an even bigger mogul than he presently is, which sounds like the worst thing ever. Like, what the fuck? Please don't do that. There's also been the thought that they'll be bought, them and Universal will merge because having Paramount Plus and Peacock at the same time doesn't make any sense. No one's really sure, but those deals apparently aren't happening. So Paramount's definitely in a weird position because everyone's like, when are you getting bought? What are you doing? If is that movie. I'm not joking about the If of Malcolm McDowell. So I don't know what Paramount's doing. Apparently they fired their CEO and they just kind of consider it like who is going to take the office of the CEO. They treat their CEO as sort of a superfluous thing. So I don't know. Here's my thing with If is when Ryo was coming out, not to bring up that whole thing, but everybody kept comparing it to Avatar, and even had press people ask the Riot people, have you seen Avatar? Who is the person who's going to bring up to John Krasinski Foster's Imaginary Home? Like, somebody's going to bring it up, right? Like, are we just not going to let that happen? Is he like, you cannot bring up that? So, I heard there's going to be some sort of bundle of a bunch of streaming services. I guess it makes sense for him, but I wouldn't mind a bundle. Everyone's like, it's the same as cable. It's not. Cable was always far more expensive than a few streaming services, so I've always hated that comparison. I think my cat Buster needs to be let out, so I'm going to do that real quick, and then we will talk about Friday the 13th. Hold on. Oh, there's a super chat. What are your thoughts on the fired CEO? He wasn't a good CEO, and he couldn't. First off, cheers to you, Zane Powers. He couldn't. He was criticized for not selling BET and not selling other things when they could have made a ton of money off of them. And a lot of people brought up Paramount and a lot of these companies. They're just losing money by the day, selling some of this stuff because TV is not getting more attractive to buyers unless you're going to do something different or understand the cost of it. And so, I think he was fired because they're like, dude, we could have been making a lot more money, but you fucked up, basically. So I should have mentioned the Star Wars thing, but I did in a weird way, that there is going to be a Star Wars Simpsons special cartoon, but it's coming out like the 12th or something. I don't get, like, the thing with the Simpsons cartoons for like Star Wars and stuff when they do those side short things is I don't think they work as well as like I saw people sharing Family Guy Star Wars special clips, and I watched at least the first one, but I remember liking it. And they bring up that it feels like somebody who's watched the original Star Wars movies too many times, and there's sort of there's referencing it, sorry, but there's a sort of love for that, and even in the Robot Chicken specials, which I do not get from the Simpsons ones. It's like they're just bringing it up to bring it up, and it always feels hollow, and I probably won't review it, but it's like, what's it called? It's called May the 12th Be With You. Like, that's like, and it's coming out May 10th. I don't know. Oh, good night, Ramsey the Artist. Thank you for being here. I watched the new trailer. A player? Oh, no, sorry. Google Documents. I saw the new Twisters trailer. It looked fun. It's probably, I thought it was a better trailer because it understood, like, first off, it wasn't just like, I sort of don't like some of these reboot trailers because they're just like, it's rebooted, and you're like, that seems stupid. And they're like, but it's loud and it's rebooted. And you're like, but why would I see this? Like, don't worry about it. Twisters. And that was like the first trailer. And the second one was like, okay, well, so like, she has this technology that can disperse twisters, and they're playing like loud, aggressive, like bro country music, and they're it's like I got more about his character. You're getting more about her and her motivations. You're like understanding it. I was like, okay, this movie, second trailer, I want to see twisters. First trailer, I'm like, but I'm still like, where's the cow? Like, is the cow going to show up at the end? And he's like, moo. Like, he's going to, like, tip his hat to him. It's like passing of the torch. It's me, the cow. Remember me? I went by the thing in the twister. It was a cow. Everyone was like, what? You can do that with computers. I have a gateway computer. But I saw 0 cows. Like, how am I going to see this fucking movie with 0 cows? Like, what? Am I going to see a Twister movie without any cows in it? Like, that sounds stupid to me. Like, why would I want to see the cows? Like, disappointing. To me, it's like, and I'm sort of like, that's the main thing I remember about it. Like, I don't think Helen Hunt's showing up. I don't think anyone's mad about her. Okay, sorry. That's so stupid. But yeah, I like the second trailer, to be honest with you. The only other thing, Edge of Tomorrow and Dawn of Justice? Huh. I can see that with Dawn of Justice. I don't know. I think someone just turned up Edge of Tomorrow too much in your theater syndrome. Apparently, A24 is scrapping the Friday the 13th prequel series, Crystal Lake. Fine. Just make a Friday the 13th movie. Stop this bullshit. It's just like, that's all we want. I don't understand. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded a found footage Jason movie because Friday the 13th movies are inherently gimmicky. People are like, no, Friday the 13th, the one that's been in 3D and went on a boat and went to Manhattan in the same movie for some reason, and had a psychic girl and like all these things. The sanctity of those, we can't let it be in found footage. I'm like, just let him just stab some teenagers. That's all I care about. That's all I want. That's all I want. But whatever. And finally, there's going to be a reboot of The Maze Runner. I don't really get why you'd want to do this or do more without Wes Ball, because I kind of think he made it, and he made his name for those. I didn't see the third one. But whatever. I find it to be odd, but I think what this does proclaim, and I'm actually a little serious about this, is that the Maze Runner films were like far better received than I think people thought they would be. Mainly because I saw a few of those YA things, and they'd always go like, here's the stupid world, here's all the dumb rules, and that would be 45 fucking minutes of the movie. And Maze Runner was like, here's a maze, run through it. I don't care, like, whatever, dude. Just like, we're gonna be always running. It's called Maze Runner, so just like run through the maze. So it's like everything's dead or whatever, who cares? And like, that's like, honestly, like, I always like them because they're like, I think in the second one they're just running constantly, like they're just always running, and in the first one they're running a little less because they got to set a few things up, but they're like, yeah, here's the maze, setting up the maze, you're gonna be running through this. Also, your parents are dead. Don't worry about it. Just like run through. It's like a thing. Don't worry. This isn't a Divergent. People will like this. So I do. Yeah. I don't think Divergent's coming back. To be real honest with you. Okay. I would like to see King of the Planet of the Apes. I'm excited. I want to watch. We'll see when I get to it. All right. So we're gonna do obituaries, and then I'm gonna take a break. And what's going on, Cornbread? I saw a very fine tweet that said the modern Freddy vs. Jason is just seeing which one will actually get a new movie made. True. All right, so we had two pretty major deaths this past week. One was Bernard Hill, who was the king in the Lord of the Rings movies, who was hypnotized in, I think, Two Towers and was in Return of the King. And he's the only actor to have been in two films that I think won 11 Oscars. He's the only one because he's in Titanic and Return of the King. I think he's the kind of actor, and I was thinking about this, who does a lot of, I think acting is storytelling. And I think a lot of what he does in his two roles that are so iconic is tell a story so effortlessly. You sort of take him for granted because the story is just told so effectively through him. And there's not a lot of actors that can do that with the class that he did, both with Titanic. My daughter likes Titanic. Titanic's playing somewhere all the time. The Lord of the Rings films are playing somewhere all the time. It shows like he is part of the success of both those movies in a major way. And I think, he might not have the flashiest role, but he did something that told that story amazingly well, and I don't think they'd be the same films without him. The other major death, sorry, my nose is got runny all of a sudden, gross, is Steve Albini. This was a kind of a shock. One of my favorite albums as a teenager was Nirvana's In Utero. It was so grimy and dirty and upset people, which, at that time was definitely a plus for me. And it just like everything, I did go through a very obsessed with Nirvana phase, and it just felt like all the, you'd hear them in interviews. I read Come As You Are, the book, I still have it somewhere. But going through it, I, the grimy and the weirdness of that band, I think only fully was shown through that album. Although I kind of think like there are other sides to them that came through, and I know they didn't like that as much, but I think In Utero is sort of like the perfect culmination of that band, and I think Steve Albini was the only one to fully understand, because they're like fans of the band Flipper, which is like this kind of non-hardcore band that's like sort of weird, not like a real mainstream thing at all. Like, but you can hear that in Utero. Like they're very much like, you get that they're a punk band and a dirty, grimy punk band, but also one that played with melody. Like he got that, as well as he produced Surfer Rosa, which is, I think, the best Pixies album. I love that Pixies album. I got into that much later, although it came out before. He's done so much great music over the years, and he's such a great producer, and he had such a unique way of producing stuff. But he really loved, I'd say, live music, really capturing a band, because you feel that in the Pixies album. Surfer Rosa is sort of all over the place, but you get a sense of them as a band through the music. You get that from Nirvana's In Utero as well. And he's really one of the great producers and one of the more interesting people to come out of music in a long time. All right, so I'm going to take a break. When I get back, I will, sorry I did hype up, maybe I won't, but I will be reviewing the Club Sandwich kind of animatic pilot and do a reaction of X-Men 97 episode 9. I only do the reactions if we're doing these on a Wednesday. Otherwise, I'll just shoot them anyway. So when I get back, I will do both of those. And let's put up the... I'm glad Sidram is here. That's cool. Let's put up the... sorry. Let's put put up the... Where are we? Should have had this ready. Okay. I'm going to put up Ace the Wind Rider's thing here. I'll be right back, and then we'll do those two things. And I don't know Big Black and all that stuff as well, but I've always heard they're very good. I will take a break, and then we'll be back with those segments, and then we'll do questions. I think we will end at 12:45. So, Club Sandwich and X-Men when we get back right after this. All right, all right. Looks like we are back. I realized... Oh, wait. I just thinking I didn't do it right. Hold on. I realized I didn't bring... I feel like often the top of the show, I'm just like... You know, I had this problem with like starting the stream and it would like... To go live, it usually lets me schedule it and it like wasn't letting... Anyway, it was confusing. I'm not sure why they set it up that way. But, like they changed the setting for it for me or something. I figured it out. Anyway, when I start the show, I feel like I'm more like, okay, we're starting the show. I got to think of this. I got to think of that. I feel like I'm always a little off. But forgot to mention, I'm not 100% if and when if there would be a show next week. I want to bring that up now. I forgot to mention that. I apologize. But the following week, so I'm thinking probably the 23rd, I will be back doing a stream, but I don't think next week. So there'll be other stuff, and I am working on. I should mention I didn't mention this, so let's just talk about it before we get into the segments. I'm working on sort of a more, I don't know, I guess YouTube-y kind of thing, and I've been developing it for a while, and I'm hoping to get the video out and done soon. I think you'll like it. It's sort of a new thing I'm working on. I'm still doing the film art video and stuff. I'm actually developing those as well, but I've been trying to just focus to get this new thing started, and hopefully it'll come out soon. I think tomorrow there might be like 2 separate things, but we'll see if that works out. But sorry, this past week has been kind of hard. Just been a lot of stuff going on. Had to do pick up and drop off. I think I've been walking my steps. I almost walked 10 miles today, and yesterday was my total. So I'm a little like, whoa. So actually, after this stream, I'm probably just gonna clean up, make my lunch for tomorrow, and go to bed. I don't think I'm doing the timestamps tonight necessarily, but it's been a little crazy. So that's why not as many videos. But I got the Sophie Godzilla thing and the Digital Circus. And to clarify something, I don't think I'll talk about other episodes. I know it's very popular, but I'm not like a fan. And I feel like when I did that with Hell of a Boss and stuff, I felt like even if I'm not giving it amazing reviews, people think I am a fan or something. And it's hard to review something on YouTube like that. It's like, I don't know. So I didn't watch the second one. I really wasn't interested, to be perfectly honest. So nothing against it. It was just not my thing. I'm not like the kids and the thing and the stuff. I don't know. But sorry about that. But I think the rest of the weekend's going to be cool. And I'm excited for the new thing. And I have shot a review of Hundreds of Beavers. And there's possibly another Sophie Godzilla thing coming up. But I think that might be a few weeks. But I've shot a bunch of cool stuff. But like yesterday, I finally shot Hundreds of Beavers, another thing, and after I did it, I was like, I need to go to bed. So I think my average walking is about around 6 or 7. No, it's like 7. I'd say like 7 or 8 miles. But like, I feel like just adding 2 more miles, my body's like this, and how hot it was today. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if that, maybe you guys work more. I'm just tired because of that. That's all. That's less like, look how cool I am. It's more, like, I'm tired. That's all that means. Sometimes I think people think I'm like bragging. I'm like, no, that's just the reality. It's nothing to do with how cool I am, which I'm not because it's too hot. I'm the reverse of cool. All right. We're going to do X-Men first because it's short, basically. Okay. And as if you're like, I don't want to be spoiled, the shorts I never do spoilers in the shorts. I might do an extra thought or something that makes it into this stream, but it's not going to spoil anything. So don't freak out. You're totally cool. Don't worry. Other than that, it is an episode of X-Men and it's a part 2, which you can see from if you scroll down on Disney Plus. So that's how it is. Anyway. Oh, thanks, Cornbread. Okay, anyway. And thank you, Austin. Thank you. By the way, you guys are always really nice. I know I say it every show, and it's like, I'm bored. You know, I do repeat myself often in this stream, but yeah. Anyway, I'm out with this week's cool. Thank you. All right, let's talk about Wait, let me get my fucking. Not that I have anything written, but I'd feel better if it was here. Where are you? Okay. Okay. X-Men. Oh, hold on. I have a super chat from Austin. My theory for X-Men 97 is that Bishop is stuck in the past timeline of X-Men. I'm assuming you meant 97. The universe. Oh, you didn't mean. Oh, Austin. Oh, I thought I was wrong. This is cool. Okay. Let's read this out. This is not a spoiler, but I like this is a theory. My theory for X-Men 97 is that okay. My theory for X-Men 97 is that Bishop is stuck in the past timeline of X-Men 87, the universe where Pride of the X-Men takes place. I think it might be it would be X-Men like 89 maybe? I'm not sure, but that Austin, that was good. Cheers to you. I like that. I generally, if they cut to him in that, I would lose my mind and I would immediately go like, Austin deserves all the credit. If you spoiled that, by the way, if you know. Anyway, here's to you, Austin. That was good. All right. So, hey, we got to get ready for the Tiki Talks. Okay. Okay. So I just saw X-Men. Okay. So I just saw X-Men. All right, here we go. So I just saw X-Men 97 episode 9. Oh fuck, what's it called? Maybe I shouldn't shoot things in front of people. They're going to be like, "Man, you don't know." See, I was like, better get club sandwich ready. Of course I know what's going on. Tolerance is extension. Okay. All right. So I just saw X-Men. Okay. All right. So I just saw X-Men 97 episode 9. Tolerance is extinction part 2. This very much feels like a part of. Like, I feel like I should be watching Tolerance is Extinction as one whole thing. I feel like I'm watching a part 2 of something. I do not feel like I'm watching an individual episode, but it seems to be written that way. We actually do see the blue and gold team go off in separate ways, which reminds me of the kind of great 90s heyday of having Jim Lee adjectiveless X-Men and Uncanny going at the same time. And I believe there were people who were on the blue and gold team. We get Rogue in the classic suit. We get a lot of things going on with Magneto. It's a pretty crazy, great episode. I actually think we should probably rewatch all this together. So my feeling on it is sort of just like, yeah, I think it's good, but I don't have like organized thoughts because it doesn't feel like I watched a complete story. It feels like I watched a part of something, but that part of something was a pretty cool X-Men story. So I'm pretty excited and interested in how this is all going to wrap up in the next one. I think that was good. Did everyone think that was good? All right. If I had to watch episode 5, I would have been completely hooked and kept up with it weekly. Yeah, they kind of fall off at a certain point. Daniel Bergen, hello. Thank you for the super chat. The other day, I torrentizes Cornbread and Tommy Tooby. What? Touretteized. Okay. The other day, I Touretteized Cornbread and Tommy Tooby. My mom burst out laughing. That's funny. I didn't have Tubi news. I thought about just bringing him out, and I was like, I have to have actual Tubi news. We can't just like bring up Tommy Tooby. But he was like, hey, I got all the stuffy over here on Tubi. Leave me alone, all right? I'm gonna go take a nap. I signed a great deal. That's interesting, Daniel Bergen. I love that. Cheers to you. Tell your mom I said hi. I like that your mom laughed though. That's cool. Cheers to you. And Al Vasquez, have a good night. Thank you for being here. All right, now let's talk about Club Sandwich. All right, so this is one of... first off, I got a bit... Well, okay, I'll say that at the end just because this will be a separate video. But as one of the many pilots that leaked during the kind of Disney television Giga leak, as it's called by some people, or the big leak of no, I got the I eventually figured out the Daniel Bryan. Sorry I didn't mean to make fun of you in any way. But it just took me a minute to figure out what you were communicating. But that I can imagine if someone just suddenly said Tommy Tooby or cornbread or something like that, it would have seemed pretty crazy. That I would have probably laughed at that too if I heard it out of context. That is funny. And thank you again, Daniel Bergen. So part of the Disney, okay. As part of the kind of Disney Giga leak or the big leak of TV pilots and television material that leaked from the Disney Channel, one of them was Club Sandwich, co-created by a veteran of Cartoon Network, Craig Lewis, who worked on Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Imaginary Home, Wander Over Yonder, and The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse. And that seemed pretty interesting, but also the cast of it, which also involves Dana Snyder and Andy Merrill. It is about a sandwich who part of this sandwich world where everyone grows up to be eaten because they're sandwiches, who doesn't want to be eaten. He wants to dance and decides to open up his own club called Club Sandwich. And some of the animation, the finished animation, had been put out there. But what came out during this pilot was a lot of animatics of the show. Now, I had never really heard of this show, but people kept bringing up, in the Discord, people kept bringing it up, and I'd heard other people I like bring it up, and I was like, I'm kind of curious what a Adult Swim, Cartoon Network-y influence show, other than, Wonder Over Yonder, but would look like. And I wasn't disappointed because this is actually a really fun concept and works in the little short form it is. The one thing about watching this as an animatic versus watching it finished is I feel like the colors and the overall finishedness of it works all within the vibe and the joke of it, much so than I saw the Very Important House, I believe, the Jonah Vasquez show, which seemed to work with the storyboards. This was harder to grasp from that. Now, one thing I am aware of is obviously Disney will get very mad and take down this video if I have shots that are not of the finished thing that's already on YouTube or of the animatic. So instead of showing that, I'm just going to have pictures of sandwiches. This is a picture of a sandwich that I ate today. This is a picture of a sandwich I ate yesterday, and here's a sandwich that I'll probably eat tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I will just have anytime, instead of cutting to a picture of an animatic, I will have a picture of a sandwich. But I could possibly just have a single frame where if I needed to cut this one section out in YouTube Editor, it would be incredibly easy, and I will not have music playing on it, so I could make it so it's very easy for me to completely cut out completely, just to show you that I actually did see it for a quick frame. But I wouldn't do that. I'm just going to show you pictures of sandwiches. So, just sandwiches. All sandwiches. This is a sandwich I ate the other day. That's your mom's sandwich. This is a sandwich I had the other week. And this is a sandwich in a store. Anyway, this is actually a cool show. But here's the issue with it. One, it is the worst thing to Google in the world. I have no clue, I'm not joking, when this show got canceled, because I can't Google it, because anytime I type Club Sandwich Disney, I get recommended restaurants in Disneyland or something. Even if I have to write like Dana Snyder, Andy Merrill, please, can I please find this? Google, what the fuck? It just wouldn't come up. Because Club Sandwich, there's like a thing, the joke is, there's an actual Club Sandwich, which will have a picture right here, rather than the show, which I can't show you. So Club Sandwich is a funny idea of this one little kid sandwich dancing around with their friends. His dad dresses up as Dancer 99, which is such an obvious Racer X parody, but it's like really funny because he's like, I wonder who Dancer 99 is, and like every character is like, it's your dad. He's like, I don't know, like. It is kind of too absurd and too weird and too funky. Like, they have a joke the beginning of every Club Sandwich episode, where like they'll tell you like sort of what's going on, they'll introduce the thing, and then it'll go previously on Club Sandwich, and then the episode starts. So is every episode a previously on, and there's no actual episode? Anyway, this is a really funny show, but I think it all has to be put together. I do think kids would like it, but I do notice like when you have in a post Ren and Stimpy world in the 90s, like CBS and a lot of places tried to launch like rip-offs on it on Saturday morning and stuff, and it never really worked out. And I feel like most people are not good. Networks are not good at launching wacky things. And I think like the Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse that this Craig Lewis worked on was could do that because it's Mickey Mouse and John sort of thing, but launching like everyone's a sandwich and it's like kind of weird, and there's one where like an ant eats them, there's one where they got left off in a cruise ship in the water, which was very weird and funny. It just sort of, in my mind, too wacky and odd for Disney Channel. Now, do I like it? Do I think it's really cool? Do I think they could have like released them all on Disney Plus as like this weird offshoot show? Yeah, and I think this was around the time Disney Plus or Disney at TV was interesting. Cornbread has brought up that Andy Murrell said it was dying off around 2015 in Twitter. In a reply, apparently they went with Big City Greens over this. That's disappointing because I do think this is a fun... It's like one of those shows where like this got this far. Like it feels like something they would have rejected. And I do think they were more open to doing different things, and this probably would have played well next to Star versus the Force of Evil, which does... That show, like, my daughter's friends will bring up occasionally and stuff. So, like, some of these old Disney... I know we talk about them, but it does feel like they do kind of live on. I can see this playing between a few of those. I cannot imagine any normal kid liking this. Like, you'd have to be a weird kid or an animation dork to like it. But watching this animatic, which I didn't because I'm just showing you pictures of sandwiches. That's all that's going to be showing because it's called Club Sandwich. There's just so many pictures of sandwich. Here's a picture of a sandwich I drew. Here's just a regular picture of a sandwich. And here's me taking a picture of a sandwich. Anyway, lots of sandwiches. Don't worry about it. All the sandwiches you want. The animatics just like, I can't really get the scope of the show other than the footage at the end of what was leaked. You really can't get it as well. So I do think maybe that probably played into how it was rejected. Also, it's sort of a weird concept and bizarre. So I think that's probably what was rejected. I find it a shame it was because I think it had a lot of promise and I think it was really fun. And I wish Disney Animation could be this odd and out there. And I think it kind of more shows like what I like about Cartoon Network more than Disney, because Cartoon Network would do a weird play like this, whereas like Disney like wouldn't, because they can't make a plastic sandwich toy or something like that. So I think it was really cool, and the songs are great, and I enjoyed watching a sandwich dance and the Speed Racer jokes and all the other ones. But I kind of wish it had happened, and I wish we could see these things, the animatic, fully animated, because I think I would have had a much better time than just watching this animatic, which just felt like it didn't fully convey really the awesomeness of this whole concept. And sure, Super Dusky asked, put an ice cream sandwich in the video. I will. Here's an ice cream sandwich. Also, I want to thank Cornbread, who I was having trouble finding this, and Cornbread did help me find this pilot, so Cornbread deserves a shout out to this. I'm sort of aware of Pickle and Peanut. I haven't really watched it that much. But yes, I will. Cheers to you, Super Dusty. Cheers to you. Thank you very much for your super chat. All right. I hope that was good. You know what? I agree, Carter, right? Cartoon Network should have picked up the show. I hope everyone likes the sandwich pictures. See, this is going to take longer because I'm going to have to take a lot of pictures of sandwiches. But see, that's a reason to... Austin, you did suggest it as well. Don't worry. I guess that is a reason to watch the... when this becomes a segment. But yeah, I'll have to have a bunch of sandwich pictures. I thought of this today. I'm like, you should just have pictures of sandwiches. I want to do that with whenever I get a review of the Bad Guys out, which I haven't, I didn't get to do because Saber and a lot of people have warned me that like Universal copyright struck everybody who did a Bad Guys review, and I kind of am not sure. I want to do something similar, but I don't know. We'll see when Bad Guys 2 comes out. All right, we're gonna do questions below, and then we will do the Patreon first. So here we go. Nathaniel Foga asks favorite and least favorite Superman suit. Favorite, I would say Fleischer Superman, but if you're saying live action, Christopher Reeves. And least favorite, I would actually say Henry Cavill's in the first. I never really liked it, to be honest with you. It always felt like it was just trying to be not what Superman was and just being cool, and I think that's sort of sort of the whole thing. Sinram asks your general opinion of Aaron Sorkin and his screenplays. Please, there appears to only be one Sorkin related review, Steve Jobs, on your channel. I don't know if the Social Network one is unlisted or not. I don't love that review. I would like to review it again at some point. But the I like, my thing with Aaron Sorkin is I did see the Chicago 7 movie. I guess I didn't review it. I often find I don't mind him as a writer. I don't love him as a director. And I think Steve Jobs, I forget what I said there. It's been a long time. I haven't really thought of that movie. I think he works well with other directors. You know, like I think Social Network works seeing to masters their craft. I do think, like I watched West Wing back in the day, but it's been a while. I do think he is good at writing, but I do think he, like, when he directs or sometimes he like overdoes it, like the Newsroom, Jesus, like he can be a bit much. But I do think, like, when he has a good director and someone to collaborate with that's not just himself, he can really sing and show that he's an amazing screenwriter. But I often do feel like him directing himself is like never something I've honestly liked. So you are asking me his screenplays, not his direction. I think he is a good writer. There are certain things I find cringy and rolling my eyes and stuff. But you're asking me screenplays, not TV shows. And screenplays, I think he's written some great screenplays, The Social Network. I remember liking Steve Jobs. I remember things like that. But I do think he works better as a screenwriter and not a director. And I wish he'd kind of stay that way. But I understand, like, I think Chicago 7 was more that had been development for so long. He probably just wanted to get it out. So I understand that. And Austin. We always got to do Austin's. I feel like we should always do Austin's last because he has the, hey, Jim, what a great show. Anyway, Austin asks, hey, Jim, what a great show. Boy, that X-Men 97, so good. So pretty simple question. What do you want to see in X-Men 97 Season 2? Comic book stories, villains, and characters. It's hard because they go through so many stories. You really got to think, like, well, what haven't they done at this point? I wouldn't mind. It's really like, what haven't they done in both X-Men 97 and the previous show? And then you get into, like, I wouldn't mind Krakatoa, I think, the Living Island. I don't know if they did that in a later season at some point. I wouldn't mind the New Mutants getting in there. I wouldn't, actually, the Brood, like, do a bigger Brood thing. Let's say the Brood. I would say the Brood probably. And stuff like that. Yeah, okay. I'll go with that. All right. Let's see. Let me go up. Okay. Question. Rank top 5 sandwiches. Do it now for the sandwich community. Let's see. I like a tuna melt. I put on these sandwiches for lunch where it's just like kind of meats and cheese, and I like the mustard, just sort of a simple thing. And I've been going, like, a lot of grocery stores have this thing where near the deli counter they just have, like, smaller selections of different meats. I usually get a bunch of those and mix it up. So pro tip. But I'll go tuna, turkey, ham. I like a salami sandwich and a fried chicken sandwich. I like fried chicken sandwich. Zane Powers, when are you going to make your takedown of Jeanette McCurdy for being such a horrible surfer, wishing she could go to school and have a normal childhood instead of being a child? Wow, Zane Powers, what the fuck is this? I actually don't know much of her work, so I probably wouldn't comment on it. But I think it's cool she wrote that book. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know what Carter Wright is. I'll try to remember that. If Carter Wright, if you're in the Discord, if you could post it or someone could post it, I'll whatever. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I'm a little curious now. Austin, can you put a picture of a PB&J sandwich in the review? Sure. I'll try to remember that since it wasn't in that part, but we'll see. Zane Powers, how you officially have you? Okay, hold on. Zane Powers asks, have you officially become so old that you no longer get with what the kids are into? Side note, when are you going to review Digital Circus episode 2? I know. See, here's the thing. Is like, if I was one of those people who's like upset and was like, oh, the kids today, I don't like. But I just like, Ryan Walterson was like, Jim, people are going to expect you to review episode 2. And he was right. And I said, no, I think they get that I was just like checking it out. I mean, also, if it was a pilot, technically it would be episode 1. Not to be that guy, but I'm more like the kids can like what they like, and I acknowledged it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's not my thing, but I don't want people to be like, man, this guy just like keeps hating on our show. I think that would be worse than what I'm doing. Or maybe I'm wrong though. Bloxy Axon Winkle, what early childhood show should get a live action movie? Bubble Guppies. That sounds horrific. Do it. Not plausible. Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with mesothelioma? If so, you might be entitled to significant compensation. Call the Mayor. What the fuck? I don't understand what that means. Nathaniel Foga, favorite film that James Gunn wrote. Ooh, interesting distinction. Probably still Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I think is his masterpiece in my mind. Favorite Batsuit from the live action movies, Carter Wright, 89 Batman, probably. Cornbread, assign me, yourself, and the 3 mods which sandwich we'd all be based on personally. But see, here's the problem with that, is that you're basing it on how I interpret sandwiches. But what if, like, I'm not joking here. What if I say, like, I think Austin would be a ham sandwich, and Austin's like, what the are you serious? And he's really offended. So I guess cornbread would be turkey, and Austin would be ham, and Zane Powers would be salami, or I would be a grilled cheese, maybe. I don't know. I hope no one's offended. Austin, don't be offended. Westinator, sorry, I've been making my own movie reviews for about a year now. Do you have any advice as a seasoned veteran? I have seen some of them. I think they're cool. What I would say is read some of the greats. I feel like my reviews got better the more I read Pauline Kael. If you like Ebert, I would read some of his. I think reading reviews helps. People don't talk about that. I would also increase your film knowledge. I think I've said this before, but I'll say it to you specifically. Take your favorite couple movies, find out what those directors were influenced by, and like see all of them. Like, or if you like, let's say you like Blade Runner, see film noir movies, like actual film noir, not, Sunshine Noir, like 70s noir, like actual 40s noir. Or if you like Star Wars, see Hidden Fortress. Or if you like whichever, I would do that, because I think one thing people don't take advantage of, because too much of being a reviewer is sort of the grind. Oh man, we're going late. Is the grind of just doing new reviews. But you really got to keep your cinematic mind and your cinematic palette trained, and you're not going to do that if you don't do newer things. So I'd just do that, and I'd even say see a movie that you have no interest in and review it and see what happens. You don't have to release it, but I'd almost say release it, because you never know, and it could like help you out and help. I would do both those things, because I grew up in more of the time where people like just see everything, and I still think there's a certain validation to that. But I'd also say see some older stuff and find out, go into your influences and find out what influenced those, and you'd be surprised what your taste comes out at the other side. I think that's what I would do. I've probably said that before in some cases, but Nathaniel Fogo, what do you hope for Transformers G.I. Joe crossover? I just hope there's a really cool action sequence, I guess. Black Sea. Oh man, how do we get all the way down here? Okay. Why is YouTube? I don't want to ban anybody. I just want to. Okay, that's not helpful. Okay, there might be too many questions, and it's getting me. Good night. I look forward to those sandwiches of sandwiches. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we're back. Exactly. Okay. Question. Did you ever play Batman Forever on Super Nintendo or Genesis? I did, and I don't remember liking it. Zane Powers, can you give the quintessential watch-up movie star that is the pure equivalent to Troy McClure? Maybe... I can't think of who it would be. Maybe Travolta's McClure at this point. Daniel Fogo, what's a pop punk band that you feel warrants a biopic? A pop punk band that warrants a biopic. I don't know if there's like one from that era. Maybe The Offspring would be interesting. Favorite horror novel? I haven't read enough of that to... I used to really like Edgar Allan Poe, so one of those maybe. Do you prefer comedic Bob Odenkirk or dramatic Bob Odenkirk? I think comedic. Cornbread, feel free to decline to answer, but do you have another Every Show Ever coming down the pipeline at some point? Yes, I actually do have one shot, and I need to edit it, and I'd like to edit it soon. I kind of want to get this new thing. I need to do it. I have not given up on that series. It's just a time and developing other things, but I people like those a lot, and I am embarrassed that I haven't done that. Same powers. What would it take to make you move out of the United States? If I had a good job opportunity, probably. Nathaniel Fogy, you think if Michael Bay was one of the ones who directed 98 Godzilla, it would have turned out any better than Roland Emmerich's? No, I don't. I think it would have been worse. I think the only one who could have done it is Joe Dante. Not plausible. Since you drink energy drinks as a reward on stream, does this count as mukbang? I don't know what that means. Nathaniel Fogy, will you get a new season? Will we get another new season of Aqua Teen soon? I hope so. Okay, I'll answer. Let's do Zane Power and Cornbreads, and I think that's. I'm gonna scroll down to the end, and that'll probably be it, because this is running kind of late actually. Now that you are a gamer, could you say aloud, Embrace Group is an amazing company. I don't know what every move they make is perfect. I don't know what any of that means. Cornbread, this past weekend I had taken my niece around to buy $3 on books. Yes, my wallet really hurts and will take a bit to recover. What was the most you spent on comics? I think I haven't really spent that much. Probably I think I've spent a ton on a lot of back issues at conventions. I remember we spent like 30 and it was just like all dollar comics. So I don't think any of that kind of stuff. But remember that time in the X-Men 90s card when Spider-Man was racist to the X-Men? I do remember that, St. Powers. What is the reasoning for releasing a Christmas movie in October? I guess because it can play well. Good luck, Wessonator. All right, I think that is it. I am tired now, and I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank everyone who gave a super chat. That's very thankful. I'm not sure if there'll be a stream or a surprise stream or something. I'll let you know if there is a time I can do it. It might just be a news thing. It might just be we'll see. But we'll definitely be back in full force in 2 weeks. Enjoy the content that's coming through. Thank you all very much for being here. Cheers to you all. And I will see you all next time. Oh, actually, before I go, funny story that happened last week. I ended the stream and my OBS was still streaming, and it ended up creating, because I closed my computer, cleaned up everything, And on Twitter, someone had shared a clip of the Phantom Menace MTV special, and I watched the 5 minutes of it, and Ball with the Ball was in it. Because of that, this unlisted stream played, and it actually got I didn't get a copyright strike, but I got a warning for this extra stream of watching the '99 MTV Phantom Menace special. Anyway, funny story. Whatever. Enjoy the sandwiches. I'll see you all next week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. Subscribe if you would like to, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace. Bye.